Hi everyone, Fantasy Recaps here. Today we are going to see a sports drama film from 2015 titled Southpaw. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins at Madison Square Garden with Billy Hope preparing for his fight against Darius Jones. As the fight goes on, Billy piles up some nasty injuries round upon round to the horror of his spectating wife, Maureen. However, he wins by getting a decisive knockout on Cedric in the 10th round, retaining his light heavyweight championship title. At the press conference, Miguel, his biggest competitor, taunts him for a fight, but he brushes him off with the urging of Maureen. However, backstage, he is extremely infuriated and demands his manager, Jordan, fix a match with Miguel. When Jordan advises against it as it's not profitable, he erupts in anger and then cools down before heading home. They arrive home just in time to put their daughter Leela to sleep. When she asks if she can watch his fights, her mother staunchly disagrees as it is too violent. In their room, Maureen confesses that she cannot stand seeing Billy getting hit so much in the ring. She wants him to quit, and they get into a disagreement. But Billy loves her so much he decides to heed her advice. The next day, Jordan is at their home with a new deal for Billy. He talks to Maureen, but she informs him that Billy has quit boxing. After Billy finishes handing out gifts to his crew, he comes to them and agrees with Maureen's decision not to take any more fights. Jordan is disappointed, and Billy goes on to play with his daughter. In the next scene, Billy and Maureen are preparing to go to a fundraising ball. Billy struggles to recite the speech while Maureen and Leela help him out. At the ball, Miguel and his crew are also there making trouble. Billy manages to stick to the script and give out his speech, but afterwards when they are heading out, Miguel taunts him again. Despite the urging of his wife, Billy is taken over by his short temper and he attacks Miguel. They get into a brutal fistfight, and amidst the turmoil, someone from either crew pulls out a gun and shoots Maureen. Billy is devastated and tries to rescue his bleeding wife, but she has lost too much blood and dies in his arms. The police try to get Billy to identify the shooter, with one of his crew members already being a prime suspect. But Billy is too worried about his daughter to even respond appropriately to the questions. They let him go, and in the next scene, we see him at the conclusion of his wife's funeral kneeling at her tombstone. Without his wife, Billy struggles to now communicate with his daughter while burning for revenge against Hector, who he believes was his wife's killer in Miguel's crew. He meets John, one of his friends, waiting outside. John, seeing Billy, tries to convince him to not go through with his revenge plan, seeing as he is still very distraught. Billy kicks John out of his house, blaming him for not protecting Maureen, and goes on his way to find Hector to complete his revenge mission. Unfortunately, he fails to find Hector and wallows in further misery. He gets behind on his taxes, and the collectors are about to auction his house. Jordan, seeing the opportunity, convinces him to sign the fight deal Maureen had declined as a solution to his current money problems. He agrees and naively thanks Jordan for always being there for him. But the fight does not go well, and Toure, the opposing fighter, knocks the hell out of Billy. Billy loses his championship title and Jordan abandons him. Being high on drugs, he gets into an accident on the way home. He drags himself back into his house and collapses on the floor. Leela calls 911 and he is taken to the hospital. But the law is not done with him, and he is arraigned in court for a custody hearing of his daughter Layla. Due to his blatant disregard for the court and the fact that he had been abusing drugs prior to his accident, he loses the case and Leela is separated from him until a review hearing 30 days later. His house is foreclosed and he has to call John to pick him up. On the way, Billy reconciles with his friend and thanks him for being there for him. John drops him off at Will's gym. This is where Tick Wills, a boxing trainer who had once trained Night Trainer, the only boxer who had ever legitimately beaten Billy. Billy hopes to convince Tick to give him a job and hopefully train him too. Tick, however, does not trust that Billy can handle the rules of working there. He offers him a janitorial job, but Billy leaves infuriated, thinking that Tick is belittling him by giving him a shoddy job. The next day, he is at Children's Services wanting to see his child. The supervisor reluctantly agrees, but Leela is clearly in a bad mood and doesn't want to see him. She leaves angry with Billy's state and they are separated once again. Billy goes back to Tick and takes the janitorial job he had offered. As he gets into his work there, he befriends a kid named Hoppy who greatly looks up to him, while also beginning to train on his own. At Children's Services, however, things are not looking up with his daughter as she completely refuses to see him. Meanwhile, in the world of competitive boxing, Miguel knocks out Toure to claim the light heavyweight championship title of the world. Tick is at the bar drinking, watching while this happens. Billy joins him, admitting that he did not want to go home and stay alone. Tick questions him introspectively on what he did to get into this whole mess. Billy does not understand and storms out, thinking Tick is criticizing him again for nothing. He comes back though apologetic and reveals how he doesn't know how to move forward after his wife's death. Tick advises him to let his daughter heal, as she lost her mother too, while he continues to move on with boxing and life. The next morning finds Billy already at the gym working hard. He helps train the young fighters while occasionally visiting Children's Services to check on his daughter. He is denied seeing her several times, but nevertheless persists. Tick, seeing his discipline and determination, decides to train him. Tick trains Billy in the southpaw style, a calculative and defensive style of boxing to hone his anger and improve his precision and defense. His daughter also agrees to see him and they begin to get along as they once did. However, the court is still not lenient on him and decides not to grant him custody of Leela yet. Later, Billy catches up to Tick in a restaurant and thanks him for coming to his court hearing. Tick then opens up about how he lost his left eye while in the middle of a boxing match a long time ago. Billy then good-humoredly comments on how he thinks the fake eye suits him much better. Lou, a friend of Tick, pays him a visit at his gym. He works at Fred's gym and is training an upcoming light heavyweight fighter called Brady. He wants to fix a charity match for Billy to raise money for war veterans. Tick agrees to let Billy participate on the condition that he sticks to the southpaw boxing style. Billy is only happy to get back into the ring again. But things don't go so well with Leela when he informs her about the match but refuses to let her be present to support him. Billy performs exceptionally at the event, earning praise from everyone, and his former manager Jordan is not one to miss out on the opportunity. After Billy's win, he approaches and asks him if he would like to fight Miguel and reclaim his championship title. When Billy informs Tick and wants him to be his trainer for the fight, Tick leaves, disappointed in him. Billy is confused, but when he goes back to the gym, he finds an infuriated Tick punching bags furiously. When Billy chastises him for boxing opposite of the southpaw style he teaches, Tick informs him that Hoppy, one of his young trainers, is dead, having been shot by his abusive father. As Tick reminisces about Hoppy, he opens up about himself and admits he didn't have the strength and wisdom to help a child like Hoppy when he needed him, but he agrees to help Billy if he needs him. Billy then responds that alone he would not be able to beat Miguel, but with Tick, he might stand a chance. The judge also gives Billy some hope by allowing him to reunite with his daughter. They eat lunch together and visit Maureen's grave. There, Billy reluctantly agrees for Leela to watch his upcoming match against Miguel. Both Billy and Miguel train very hard for their upcoming match. Miguel seemingly has the advantage of having trained longer with Billy's former trainer and manager behind him. 6 weeks pass in a flash, and match day between Billy and Miguel has arrived. Leela and her supervisor Angela watch the match in the dressing room. The match begins, and in a spectacular show of boxing, Miguel and Billy trade nasty punches. Miguel takes the first 5 rounds, but Billy gains in the middle rounds. In the 11th round, Billy almost loses it when Miguel insults his dead wife, but Tick cools him down. In the 12th round, both boxers return each other's brutal punches, but at the last minute, Billy switches to a southpaw combo and knocks Miguel Escobar down. The crowd is ecstatic, and his daughter cheers passionately for him. The judges, however, are split on their decision, but as each tally is read, Billy eventually comes out as the final victor. He cries on the ropes, dedicating the victory to his wife, who always stood by him. Backstage, he hands over his belt to Tick as a thank you for having gotten him back to the top. And the film ends with Billy hugging his daughter, while the press tries to get a picture of him. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to stay up to date with our movie recap videos. See you next time.